My name is Blaze Olafson from Intelligent Lighting Controls. So the objective of our webinar today is we are going to cover who is ILC, review our company history, the markets we serve, go through a somewhat detailed product overview, discuss a few success stories, and then we'll conclude with a question and answer session. And our website, if you're interested in learning more, is www.ilc-usa.com. So who is ILC? ILC stands for Intelligent Lighting Controls, and our goal for many years has been to simplify lighting controls from installation to use. And hopefully, as we go through our product overview today, you will see that fact evident in the variety we have throughout our product and how it can be installed and how users will interface with it. We do put a main focus on our customer experience and have a customer-first attitude. We are a Midwestern-based company out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and one of our core values is to do whatever it takes to follow through. So whenever an issue pops up or if there's anything that we can do to support our customers' efforts, we'll definitely jump in and do all we can to resolve those issues. Another thing that we take great pride in is our R&D pipeline. So many of the products we'll discuss today are a direct result of feedback that we have received from our customers, who could be electrical contractors, individuals specifying our product, and our agents. So if you come across something where you don't have a solution and you wish our product could do that, feel free to reach out to anyone on our team and we will work with our engineering team to see if we can accommodate your project and provide you a solution. Our product line also has a lot of flexibility. We'll go through that in a little bit. So we most of the times have the right product for the right application in the sense that you can have a centralized system or you can distribute it throughout a space. We also are easy to maintain. So many of our room controllers, remote relays, digital switches, motion sensors, daylight sensors can be replaced without the need for reprogramming. So in several jobs in the specification, we'll call out that attic stock is required. And a lot of those devices can be swapped out just by setting the address on the back of the switch, for instance, to the switch that you're replacing, put it in, make the connection, and it'll work like that switch that you're replacing. All of our product is made in the USA, which makes us a good solution for Buy American products or projects. And most of the time, we are 4 weeks, our lead time or less for the entire order. So we have a supply chain that's in place that can help deliver quick turnaround on projects if needed. In regards to our company history, ILC began as part of Enercon Data Corporation, and they were able to secure the marketing rights for the transformer relay product that was invented by 3M. They didn't have a dedicated sales channel for that product at that time, so a few individuals gathered together and secured the marketing rights and began selling the relay that you see in the upper right-hand corner. So that relay that we started with has been around for about 30 years. And the whole point of that transformer relay was to have that distributed throughout the space. So you no longer have to have a control panel that was centralized. You could distribute those relays and switches throughout the space. But we were about 30 years before its time, and it was not accepted well by the market. So we brought all of those transformer relays back to one central location and had a relay panel, so to speak, that could control entire facilities. And that original product line that was released included relays, momentary contact switches, and then master switching devices. And a decision was made early in the history of our company that we wanted to have all products made in the USA, and that is a tradition that we still embrace today. All of our products are made in the USA. We're based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we have a couple vendors that are north of the Twin Cities, about an hour and a half away, that build all of our R40 relays. And then just south of Minneapolis in Austin, Minnesota, we have a partner that makes all of our printed circuit boards and they're making deliveries to our facility on a weekly and sometimes daily basis to keep up with the demand for our product. And in the early 1990s, the company name was changed to Intelligent Lighting Controls, and that is when we launched our first microprocessor-based controller that was developed and released. And everything within our product line is backwards compatible. So in the event that a system is 20, 30 years old and you need to update that, we do have retrofit solutions that allow you to replace the electronics in most cases. We can use the original relays, and in some situations, we'll upgrade those to our current generation. And since we had that initial system, over the years, we've slowly built on more and more features. We started just with a relay panel that was turning loads on and off, and then over time, we incorporated dimming and a lot of other input and output devices that you'll see are in the product line today. And we were all very excited on March 1st, 2023. That is when Intelligent Lighting Controls was acquired by Cooper Lighting. So the market segments that we have found success are healthcare. We've done several schools across the country, sports stadiums. Some of those are brand new installations, and several of them are retrofit solutions. We're on several commercial office spaces, labs, and research centers, which include vivariums. We have higher education, hospitality, entertainment and restaurant areas, as well as amusement parks. We will now discuss a high-level overview of our system, and then after that, we'll get into the nuts and bolts of the product line. So most of our products fall into one of two categories, which would be light leader or light sync. So a light leader product would include a processor, some type of brains that is processing commands and then acting based on that input with an output and communicating across the network. So all the devices are working properly and working well together. And then we have light sync devices that are expansion modules that you can add on to a system that will incorporate additional functionality. So on the left-hand side, you can see our relay panel, our distributed EVO solution, as well as our integrated EVO solution. And all of those devices on the left would have a brain or a CPU included in them. The devices on the right would be add-on modules that would connect back into those devices with brains and then would allow the user to change light levels or interfaces from third parties for that system integration. So our system does have a lot of flexibility. It can be centralized or distributed. In regard to the relay panels, you would have all of your relays in one central cabinet and run your line and load through the relay to turn lights on and off. There's a variety of modules that can be added into the panels that will give you additional control. And then on the right-hand side, you can see what a sample system would look like, where we have the light leader panels. And then from those devices, we have Cat5 running out to the auxiliary devices, which would be inputs and outputs that are controlling the actual light fixtures or other devices that we're interfaced with. Our distributed solutions include the Light Leader EVO, which is a main board that includes connections for 4 R20D relays that would be mounted out within the space. There are also 4 inputs for occupancy sensors, 2 inputs for photocells, and then this device can be standalone or can be set up to be within a network of devices. And then if you need to expand beyond those 4 relays, you can go up to 16 total relays, and you would use a LightSync EVO RC room controller and LS EVO 8X, which would allow you to have 8 additional relays, or the LS EVO INT2 RC room controller that would give you 2 additional relays. With the Light Leader EVO, we also have 16 preset applications included with that, and that's a good out-of-the-box solution. If the facility or the room that you're controlling matches one of those applications, you can set the address dials to match that, and you'll be good to go out of the box with a nice simple solution. On the right-hand side of the screen, we have our EVO integrated. The integrated means that the relays are included inside the device. So we have a version that has 8 relays included, 4 relays included, or 2 relays included. And both of these devices with the intelligence do include built-in time clock. So whether they're on the network or standalone, you can do time clock functionality. We have a variety of user interfaces. On the left, we have our LSG3 switch. It is available in 1 to 7 buttons with 5 standard colors, and those buttons can be used to control a zone, a scene, or you can have a combination of zones and scenes on that button. And our MZD version, the multi-zone dimming, will have a raise and lower button at the bottom of the switch, and that allows you to control all zones or scenes that are on together by raising up or down the light level. And if you press and hold one zone, then you'll be just controlling that individual zone. On the back of those switches, there is an address label or an address dials. So with them, you would set those to the specific light sync address, and then the programming would be done based on that light sync address and then the inputs that are associated with that. On the right-hand side of the screen, we have our light sync touchscreen. That's available in 3 sizes, 3.5 inch, which mounts in a single gain junction box, 4.3 inch or 7 inch, and those are available with black, white, or ivory faceplates. So we're now going to transition to a deep dive into some of our products. So we're going to start with the light leader relay panels. So with the light leader relay panels, they are available in standard or emergency. So with the emergency panel, we have a phase monitor module that's added. So that will monitor the B phase and C phase of the circuit feeding the panel. And in the event that one of those phases is lost, it will go into emergency mode. And with that functionality, it can turn on or off relays to provide egress. All of our light leader relay panels include an astronomical time clock. We have the R40 relay that is available in 1, 2, or 3 poles. And the panel size ranges from 4 to 64 relays. And once again, these can be standalone or networked. And we have many interfaces and modules that can be added to the panel that can increase the functionality and operation of the panel. On this slide, we show the measurements. So the 8 and 16 size relay panel use the same size enclosure. The 24 and 32 circuit, the same enclosure. The light leader 40 and 48 shares an enclosure, and then the light leader 56 and 64 also shares the same enclosure. In regards to the relays, they are rated for 40 amps. They have an SCCR rating of 18,000 amps. So with a lot of the LED loads that we're seeing in large open offices, we can handle that inrush current. That's not an issue for this relay. It's very robust, and it's very rare that we ever have a failure with one of these relays. You can see the switches on the top of the relay. One of those switches is for a manual on and off if you had to override the relay and turn it on or off. And then we also have a lock on or off switch. And when that lock on switch is turned on, it locks the relay in its current position, and then it will ignore any programming if it's an input that's pressed from a switch, or whether it's a time that's sweeping through and turning off relays, it will ignore that and stay in its current position. So this can come in handy when a system is being troubleshot, or in the event that a relay needs to stay on after the time clock sweep for that day, it can just manually be put in that lock position and it will stay in its current state. For our 2-pole and 3-pole relays, there is a little pin that goes and locks those 2 relays together, and then through the programming of our system, we'll make sure that both of those relays or all 3 of those relays fire together. And we use those in parking lot applications and other locations where there's large loads. Another unique solution we have in our product line is the light leader retrofit inserts. So when I talked earlier about our system being backwards compatible, Some of our previous legacy brands were Lightmaster, Quanta Elite. What this retrofit insert allows you to do is you can take the guts out of an existing panel and you can replace it with this backplate. And that backplate will include all the relays and also a light leader CPU, and all the existing wiring can be reused for those relays. And then if there's any switches, we can retrofit those as well. Or if it's just a momentary switch that requires a contact closure, we can add input modules to the relay panel, and then all of those switches can be reused. For some other options that we have, it would be for Microlight, GE, Douglas, Hubble LX, as well as PCI. And this would include all the features of our current light leader relay panels. If there's multiple panels on a job, a new Cat5 cable can be ran, and all of these can be networked and operate together as one united system. Our light leader Evo distributed system, the first product that is included in that would be the light leader Evo TC. It has 4 0 to 10 volt dimmable relays that can be connected, and the connection for those relays would be these 4 Cat5 connections here. So you would be running a Cat5 cable from the LL Evo TC out to the R20D relay. Here we have 4 inputs for occupancy sensors. We have 2 inputs for photocells, and then we can have a network connection of Cat5 as well as an output for the local light sync line. That would be all of your LSG3 switches. The Light Leader Evo TC does include a time clock. So if it's in standalone mode through programming, you can set up specific time clock features. It is made in the USA, and we do have pre-programmed applications loaded into the firmware of this device. And on our website, across the top heading, if you click on typical drawings, and then you can filter that page by pre-programmed typicals, you can see the list of programs that are available for a wide variety of applications that can help be an out-of-box solution. We are also able to integrate the Evo system with AV systems if it's being used in a conference room, and we can also add in a BACnet card on the network that will integrate with BACnet automation. And we can also do tunable white LED. We can use one R20D relay to change the color temperature, and one R20D would change the intensity. In the event that you needed more than 4 relays in a space, we have the LS Evo 4X and the LS Evo 8X, which will allow you to expand up to 4 or 8 additional relays. The total number of relays that we can control on a Light Leader Evo TC panel would be a total of 20 relays. And then this would be a subnode or an expansion processor or an expansion module off of the Light Leader Evo, and would take all of its commands directly from that device. The relay that we would use with the Evo TC and the expansion, the 4X and 8X, is the R20D relay. The R20D includes the 0 to 10 volt wires for dimming functionality, and the R20 does not include that. The relay is rated for 20 amps. It is derated based on the National Electric Code for 16 amps. It can be used for plug loads, and in the event of loss of power, it will go to 100% output, and then would take all of its commands from the Light Leader Evo that is connected back to. A new product that we are very excited to be launching to the market is the Light Leader Remote 20 Relay with Emergency Bypass. So this device has 2 relays in it, one for normal operation and then one for emergency. So in the event that power was lost, the emergency load would take over, and then based on programming, it would be able to come to full brightness to light up and illuminate the path of egress. And then in normal operation, that emergency fixture that was attached to this device would just follow the normal load. So it's a very seamless integration. And in most cases, this is one device you have to install, where previously the solution we had, it would be an R20D relay and then another emergency bypass relay that would be monitoring the normal circuit, and then upon loss of power would switch over to the emergency. So with this design, we are able to include all of that in one device, which makes the installation much, much simpler. So for the Evo integrated, this is a very similar solution to the Evo TC, but for these devices, the relays are built into the controller. So the Evo Int 2 has two isolated relays. It is plug load rated, so you could have one load doing the lighting in the space and one of the relays doing the plug load control. There are two 0 to 10 volt dimming outputs, which are associated with each relay. And then all these devices would be connected via Cat5. And out of the box for this one, we do have a pre-program installed in that will allow for code compliance with IECC, ASHRAE, as well as Title 24. This can be used in standalone or can be added to a light leader network. The one unique feature about this that is not included would be this device does not include a time clock where the Evo TC does. So in the event that you need to do an all-on sweep or an all-off sweep based on time of day, we would have to network this to a light leader network controller so it has that functionality. In the event that you needed more than two zones in a space, we have the LS Evo Int 2 RC, which is an expansion module for the Evo Int 2 or our other panels, and that can give you two additional isolated relays, two additional dimming outputs, and then that is also plug load rated. So here you can see a breakdown of the wiring. So we have lighting load 1 is a separate circuit, lighting zone 2 is a separate circuit, all connected back into the Evo Int 2. And then we have the light leader network ports, the local port for light sync devices, mainly the LSG3 or other auxiliary devices. And then we have a Cat5 port for the occupancy sensor, as well as for the photocell. So a sample of what a typical system would look like for the Evo Int 2. Here we have the main controller, the Evo Int 2. It is connected to the light leader network. We have Cat5 coming out of the local port, hitting the LSG3 switch, and then going into the LS Int 2 RC for two additional relays. And then we have the Cat5 connection to the aux sensors, as well as the Cat5 connection to the photocell. So based on the number of zones required for a space, if it's 2, or you can expand it up to 4, and then you would just continue networking these devices together throughout an entire facility. Also in the light leader Evo integrated family, we have the Int 4 and the Int 8. The picture on the left shows a version of the 8. So it has 8 relays built into it, as well as 0 to 10 volt dimming for each of those. With the light leader Evo Int 4, that accepts 1 line voltage input. And with the light leader Evo Int 8, that can accept 2 line voltage inputs. And then that would be grouped in relays of 4. So with the Evo Int, if you had 2 circuits feeding that, you would have 4 relays for one circuit and 4 relays for the second circuit. The Evo Int 8 has been a great solution for us for the hospital projects or healthcare projects that we've worked on. It does have a pre-programmed application that allows you to cycle through from a pillow switch. By pressing the button, you can recall scenes or presets that are programmed into the system. And then by pressing and holding the pillow switch, you can raise and lower the light level. So this device does have a time clock built into it. It can be standalone or networked, and it does accept 4 occupancy sensors, 1 photo cell via Cat5 connection, and then when we get to the next slide, you'll see each of those designations. So here we have the input voltage, line voltage for 1. We have the line 2 voltage, and then we have the outputs for loads 5 through 8, and the outputs for 1 through 4, and then we have the 0 to 10 volt outputs that would be associated with each of those individual loads. And then down here on the bottom would be the aux sensor inputs, photocell input, the light sync output, and then your network connection. So our most popular switch is the light sync G3 switch. This comes in a variety of configurations. We can do zone, scenes, or a combination of zone and scenes. The switch in the top would be our MZD, which is multi-zone dimming. So you can manually turn on and off each of those zones, and then a master override or master off, and then a raise and lower. So when it comes to functionality, this one, the LEDs are on, so that would indicate that all 4 zones are on. So if you press the raise up button, all 4 of those zones would raise together. If you press the down arrow, all 4 of those zones would ramp down. If you press and hold just one individual zone, the LED will start blinking, and that will indicate that you have control of just that one zone, and then you could raise or lower that zone individually to pull up the scene or feel of that space. The switch is available in white, ivory, gray, black, and red. And this helps give us a little bit better idea of how it can be configured. So in the event that you wanted to convert a zone button to a scene button, you can easily pop out that button and we can supply a replacement switch. We have the scene MZD stations available with 4 scenes and 2 zones, 3 scenes, 3 zones, 2 scenes and 4 zones, and then with the raise and lower. Scene switch configuration, the MZD stations, and then also the non-dim stations. We do have a color change kit that is available. So this front faceplate, for some reason, if all white switches were ordered, they get to site and they actually needed gray or a different color, this faceplate can be removed with 4 screws, and we can send a replacement faceplate, pop that in. The firmware for this switch does include all of these options. So in the event that a switch fails and you have one in attic stock, you would be able to pull that switch out, put the faceplate of the existing switch on if it didn't match up accordingly, reconfigure the switch to match that faceplate, set the address dials on the back to the switch that's being replaced, install it in the wall, and it will work perfectly. So very seamless way to replace switches in the event that one is damaged by an end user or something happens to it. Other options that we have a light sync digital key switch, we have a wet touch button, and also a touch button switch. This is available with 1, 2, or 3. This is available in, I think, 1 button only, and then the key switch can be maintained or momentary. Another popular solution for us is our touch screen. Out of the box, it will come, our 7-inch will come with sliders already built onto the screen, scene and capture buttons, and then as well as just another screen that has zones listed on it. So then when it's time for the startup or commissioning of the system, our tech would just have to map the appropriate zones or scenes, and then it would be set up for the user to experience that and control the lights in their facility. Within our system, we do have the ability to capture scenes. So as you see on this example, with the sliders, you'd be able to set the specific scene. You would press the Capture 1 button and hold that, and then that would automatically map that to scene 1, so it could be recalled in the future. We also have the ability to lock out specific scenes screens and password protect screens. So in the event that you wanted an admin page for individuals to go in and remap scenes, that could be done. And then for the everyday use, you could have that one locked, so when someone came in to use the room or the facility, they wouldn't be able to adjust those scenes. So once again, we have the 3.5 inch, the 4.3 inch, and then also the 7 inch. So for our add-on modules, this really allows a lot of flexibility within our system. So natively, our system does 0 to 10 volt dimming. In the event that there was reverse phase or forward phase dimming on a project, we have this device available that can receive a 0 to 10 volt signal from our system and then can convert that in either to forward phase or reverse phase to control various loads. If it is line voltage dimming for incandescent, LED, some cold cathode, we do have this device available. It takes one independent circuit that would feed it, and then that would be broke out on each of these relays and dimmer outputs. And then you'd be able to control those individual zones separately. It is 500 watts per channel. And with the relay built in, it does provide a positive on-off for each of those channels. And this is a device that would just be added to the LightSync data line and then would be programmed to control those loads accordingly. And here is where it really gets fun and interesting. The Light Leader add-on modules really allow us to do a lot of unique stuff very simply throughout our system. So this slide is just a brief overview of several of the many interfaces that we have. We can accept dry contact inputs. We have a module for occupancy sensors, 0 to 10 volt dimming, one for photocells, several serial interface options, and then motor controls. So looking at some of these in greater detail, the LightSync digital dimming module. This is a device that can be panel mounted, so that we mounted directly in the relay panel. Over each of the relay driver modules, we put a double plate, and with these holes right here, it's just a PEM mount. It clips in place, and then we connect it via Cat5 to the brains of the operation, and then we're able to map those outputs, or those 0 to 10 volt outputs, to control the various loads. So there's four independent channels that can control up to 100 ballast or drivers, and then there's 256 steps between that 0 to 10 volt range. So it really gives us a lot of flexibility and granularity when adjusting loads. Each are rated to sync voltage up to 100 milliamps per channel, and each output may be programmed to respond to 16 inputs per channel. So those inputs could be various devices. It could be a signal coming in from an occupancy sensor, a signal coming in from a LSG3 switch, and then the same with our R20D relay. Upon loss of power, the output will go to full 10 volt or full brightness. So for egress, it doesn't bypass it like a UL 924, but it will go to full brightness. And then it's very easy to program and set up these various scenes with that 0 to 10 volt through our software. So when we're interfacing occupancy sensors with the Light Leader relay panel, or if we have a large area with several sensors or groups of sensors, we can use this occupancy sensor module. This can be mounted directly into a relay panel or a remote box. And with this device, we provide a power supply, and that will provide power of 800 milliamps. So as long as the sensors you're connecting to one or a combination of 8 of the inputs on this board, as long as they're under 800 milliamps, we'll be good to go. And then this can be programmed to include individual relays, groups of relays, or to recall a preset based on that contact closure receiving a single signal from the occupancy sensor. For accepting inputs from photocells, we have the LSPSC4. Once again, this can be panel mounted or remote mounted. It has 4 separate inputs for photocells, and these can each run independently, or you can set it up so it will average all of the photocells that are connected. So in the event that you have a large office space with a wall of windows and maybe 2 to 4 photocells along that wall, this device will allow us to average the daylight that's coming in and then can adjust the lights accordingly. And this is self-powered from the LightSync network, so no need for an additional power supply for this one. When you connect it to the LightSync network, that'll power up this data or this card, and then we'll share that data across the network. Within our system, we do have a 30-second filter. So this card and our system will have to see the light level change for a minimum of 30 seconds. And then after the light level is changed for 30 seconds, then I'll either raise or lower the light level based on what is coming into the space. We have an input module. Once again, this can be panel mounted in a relay panel or can be remote mounted. This accepts up to 4 hardwire switch inputs, and it can be a 2 or 3 wire dry contact closure or an equivalent. We will use this in various situations where we need to accept an input from a fire alarm system, a security system, or other third-party system that when that closure makes contact, then we can turn on a group of lights, individual lights, or we call a preset based on what action is needed. We can also do it for a reverse status. So based on what they want to happen with that input, we can take the appropriate action. And it can also be mapped to time of days to disable or allow that input to function. And then in the event that we need to put out a signal to a third-party system, we have the dry contact output. So this provides 4 isolated dry contacts, and this can be interfaced with numerous systems and allows us to push out a signal to a third-party device. We also have a wide variety of cards that can allow us to accept signals from various systems for integration. This would be an example of that. It's the LightSync AV interface for RS-232. So we would provide a list of our ASCII commands to the integrator, and then they would be able to send us signals to recall scenes or to trigger other things within our system to set light levels. And then we can also control dimming outputs and read status of pilots and photocell levels. So this is a great solution for a conference room when we need to integrate with a third-party control in that facility. If they have a touch screen or something else that's sending out commands, this would be the device that would allow us to respond to those and set the light levels. We can also integrate with DMX systems. So in the event that we are controlling the house lights or maybe a lobby within a performance space, we can accept an input into our light leader relay panels from that DMX system, and then we can turn loads on and off or lights on and off to respond accordingly. And then with this, we have direct control of any relay in the network, and we can map any DMX channel to any relay output. And all that would be done through our standard Light Leader Pro software. We also have a separate device. It is called the LS-DMX-D, which is a DMX driver. So that would allow us to output a DMX signal and to interface with third-party systems. We also have several jobs where we interface with a BACnet system. It could be a building automation system or building management system. So these cards will allow us to do that. We have a BACnet IP interface, BACnet MSTP, Modbus RS-232, as well as Modbus TCP. So we can accept command strings from those systems, and then they can turn lights on and off based on the command that is sent to us. And to get our system functioning and operational after the installation, we have the Light Leader Pro software. We have two versions of the software, one for network systems and one for standalone systems. And this software allows us to set up panels, program light sync devices, dimmers, motor controls, serial interfaces, and then we can also name the various relays and devices that are in each space. It also has a diagnostic dashboard. So when our tech first gets to the site, lots of times they're running that dashboard to see which devices are connected to the system and make sure that everything is functioning prior to installing the program. Through the software, you would also set all of the clock functions, which would be time, date, and then the longitude and latitude for the Astro time clock. And then within this, you can set up all the timers and schedules that will function on a daily basis. There's also a built-in calendar. So if you wanted to set up specific events based on holidays, that would all be done through this software. Additionally, we can configure how the relays operate. We can set various timers, blink alerts, any relay groups that would need to be set up or presets. All that would be done through the software. And then finally, we can configure all the inputs, which would be, if we have an LSG3 with 5 buttons, we can program each of those 5 buttons to their specific functionality. And the Light Leader Pro software is a free download from our website. So in the event that an end user wants this, it is free for them to download and use to maintain and update their system. So some of our market success and key projects. We have done several stadiums. Several of them are retrofits. So we have done FedEx Field, M&T Stadium, Heinz Field, American Airlines. A project that we are in the process of completing would be the Children's Hospital of Atlanta. So that is a solution of EVO TCs as well as the EVO Integrated 4 and 8 that is being used throughout that facility. Additionally, we have done the Toma Hospital, which is located in Wisconsin. And then throughout the country, we've done many school districts, which would include Allen ISD, Fort Bend ISD. We've done several corporate headquarters, which would include the 3M campus, Takeda Shire headquarters, Philips Healthcare, State Farm, and Ferguson.
Thank you so much for watching our video today. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have additional questions, feel free to email us at ilc.techsupport@ilc-usa.com or call us from 7 to 5 Central at 952-842-2588.